Just before we start this video, I want to tell you guys I'm going to be doing a Q&A in about 2 weeks' time. So feel free to ask me some questions on my social media, including Twitter, Facebook, and on any YouTube video between now and the upload, which will be in about 2 weeks' time in order to get questions. Hope you enjoy the video. Hello there guys and welcome, it's Niran here, and today it is time for yet another episode of FIFA 14 Aston Villa Career Mode. Today it will be time for episode 30 of the series, and in this episode we'll be playing the Community Shield game against Chelsea, having won the FA Cup in Season 1, and the second game of this episode will be away from home against Swansea. Of course, with our finish last season in the top 4, we'll be playing in the Champions League this year, but we have to get through the qualifying stages. As you could see on the calendar a moment ago, we'll be playing Malmo in the qualifying round of that one. But before we get underway, just going to go through my shortlist. Here's some attacking midfielders, including Lazaro, Rakitic, Quintero, Holtby, Munyain, Bernard, Maya, Wijnaldum, Portillo, Didavi, Hiroshi Kiyotake, Mkhitaryan, Alvarez, Eremenko, Popov, Koke there of Atletico Madrid, Demarcos, Cristetto, and Sonny Kittel, and a few of the defenders here, Pibernes, Volshied, Kerf of Udinese, Willy Bolly and Bruno Aquele Manga, followed by Simon Kier. Of course, going into this transfer window, I was looking for a winger, another centre-back mainly for depth, another full-back mainly for depth, and a few midfielders. Unfortunately, with the loss of Jores Okore, it does mean we're going to have to replace him and try and bring in another centre-back. I have got some options, though, at the moment towards the end of this episode. I'm probably going into next episode that I'm having a look at the moment in terms of replacing him. But after that, we've got a few more random midfielders there, including people like Pjanic, Casemiro there, and Albin Ekdal towards the end. But now it is time to get straight into the first game of this episode, being the Community Shield game. It's time to see whether we can win the first bit of silverware available in England here in our first game properly going into Season 2. Just sorting out the team here, of course, we've got Sebastian Roeder and Clement Grenier ready to make their competitive debuts in this one. Here is the squad: Zila, Klein, Baker, Vlaar and Loughton. The defence with Grenier, Roeder and Delphin in midfield, and Backley, Bruma and Benteke up front. Now, of course, Nathan Baker had to come in to replace Jores Okore, having gone out to Hoffenheim now, unfortunately, for £9 million. But I didn't have anyone to replace him for this game, so unfortunately, not unfortunately, but having to play Nathan Baker, who would be probably considered a substitute defender on a normal, regular basis. But on the bench, of course, is Nathan Ake, someone who we got on loan from Chelsea, so obviously no rules of parent clubs on this game. So he will be on the bench. But the first chance of the game came to us in the 4th minute. Sebastian Roeder played through there with Benteke, but a great save by Salvatore Sirigu in the Chelsea net. But Chelsea would then have the next chance of the game. Even Hazard putting it in for Demba Ba, but thankfully for us, he was offside and the goal did not count. 2 minutes later, only Benteke sets through Backley, and Grenier is unable to get his head on the ball. It was a great crossing, actually, which Grenier just anticipated a little bit. And Bruma picks up the ball that curls his finesse shot just wide of Sirigu's far post. Van Ginkel, though, of course, playing for Chelsea, is tackled there by Loughton. Of course, he's even better now, and a great save there from Zila. From Ramirez's shot, and somehow Juan Mata misses that, hitting the post with a pretty much empty net. In the 27th minute, though, Benteke feeds through Roeder again, and yet another great save from Sirigu, this time from Roeder's finesse shot. But moving on into the second half, and Demba Ba getting his head on an Eden Hazard free kick and somehow putting it, well, not somehow putting it wide, but it was very close, to be honest, to getting that one in. But going into the 60th minute, a nice little 1-2 between Klein and Grenier. Klein puts the ball into the area for Benteke, a free header, and Sirigu yet again keeping Chelsea in the game. But it wouldn't last long as Grenier links up with his fellow new teammate Sebastian Roeder. He turns the defender and blasts it into the top corner past Sirigu. Nothing he can do in the 68th minute. What a goal that is from Sebastian Roeder. The other new midfielder signing, Clement Grenier, getting the assist after that nice little pass to Roeder in the area. But a nice little burst of speed, I think it was past either Van Ginkel or Azpilicueta, and a great finish into the top corner. Of course, Van Ginkel, our player of the season, playing for Chelsea this season, having gone back on loan, and he is literally a better version of what we had last year. But Chelsea on the counter-attack, Willian giving it to Hazard, a nice tackle there from Baker, but unfortunately Hazard all over and wins the ball back. Last-ditch challenge from Baker doesn't work. Llorente, who came off the bench, forcing the save from Zila, but Ramirez is there to nod it in on the rebound. Llorente, of course, clearly having signed from Juventus for Chelsea this season. Good save there originally from Zila, but there was nothing he could do from the rebound. Unfortunately, that meant with only 9 minutes to go, Chelsea did get the equaliser, and that was it. And of course, with the Community Shield / Charity Shield, no extra time, we're straight into penalties. And I'm not great at penalties, but Grenier there with the first penalty, really lucky there. Sirigu unlucky not to save that. Hazard there getting the second one in off the post to make it 1-1. Bakuna next stepped up and he blasted it to the top left corner there as Sirigu stayed in the middle. De Bruyne though this time with an even better penalty, this time to the top right, making it 2-2. And of all people, Christian Benteke would go on to miss, making it 2-2. And now 3-2. Seriously unlucky there on Zila, having hit the post and bouncing off him. Vlar then stepped up to take another penalty to make it 3-3. And thankfully, Azpilicueta missed to equalise it all. But Bruma blasts it down the middle and Sirigu is there just to catch it, which meant all that Ramirez had to do was score. And that is exactly what he did, putting it down the middle. And unlucky for us, 4-3 on penalties. Chelsea win the Community Shield. Really disappointing, because at times we were better than Chelsea. I think we really did play better than them in the first half, the whole first half. They came back into it, obviously, in the second half. Probably played better in the second half than us, but we still probably, on the balance of things, deserved the win. Sebastian Roda, though, getting man of the match in his first competitive game. Good ratings as well for Grenier in his competitive debut, as well as Benteke there, getting a good rating too. Bakuna, Bruma and Delph with average ratings, as well as Zila there with a 6.5. But now, back into the transfer activity after the disappointment of not winning the Community Shield, and both offers for both Patrick Herrmann and Marko Arnautovic have been accepted. We've also sold Darren Bent now to Arsenal for $4.5 million, well, for $5.3 million, but we get $4.5 million of it. And now going into trying to replace Jores Okore, we've got Willy Bolly here of Auxerre, an inquiry made. They want $8.5 million for him. We've also got Matthew Ibanez and Frederick Sorensen just below that, as well as Kyriakos Papadopoulos we're having a look at. But we do offer $7.5 million, just underneath what their valuation even of Willy Bolly was. But then a dagger through what was left of my already broken heart in this transfer window, and that is Fabian Delph has decided not to sign a new contract I offered him. It's not quite as bad as the Weimann situation, because I can try and offer again and he might well just accept it, or you know, he doesn't have to leave now. It could just run to the end of his contract. But in the meantime, Filip Juricic's offer from our offer to Benfica was accepted, so he can now talk to Juricic. We've also offered 50 grand a week for Herrmann and 50 grand a week for our old FIFA 13 friend Marko Arnautovic. We also got Alberto Moreno here. Now, I put him in a team builder, career mode team builder recently for the medium budget, and I loved him as a player, the left back. Didn't really realise he was actually as good on this update. So I decided to make a cheeky loan offer for him. We've also got Stefan De Vrij here, a final we're making an offer for of £8 million. The 22-year-old centre-back trying to replace Jores Okore, and an £11 million offer for Schalke's Kyriakos Papadopoulos. So we'll see how they go. Willy Bolly. The bid for Willy Bolly was in fact accepted, and Marko Arnautovic's contract was accepted. Unfortunately, Patrick Herrmann's was not. But just before we get into signing the winger between Juricic and Arnautovic, we're just going to loan out Jordan Graham. He did impress me actually in the pre-season, but I still think if he goes out on loan, he'll progress more as a player, and I think it will overall just help him a lot more. But now, the decision between Benfica's Juricic and Werder Bremen's Arnautovic, there wasn't much doubt in my mind that I should go for Filip Juricic. Firstly, because we've already signed Arnautovic in FIFA 13, and also because Juricic has a much better potential of, in fact, 85. He's 79 currently when I sign him, and he's only 22 years of age. For £8 million, we're getting an 85 potential player, and I think that is a little bit of a bargain personally. But now, after all that transfer activity, we're going to move into the second game of the episode. I know it's very late, we're at 8 minutes 40, I think we've just passed, which is probably the latest I've ever started a game at. But we are against Swansea, and of course this is the first game of the Barclays Premier League season, and the team I will be putting out will be Zila in goal, Klein, Baker, Vlar and Lowton in defence yet again. Basically the same team I played for the Chelsea game, completely the same, though we did have Filip Juricic on the bench, ready to make his debut off the bench and see whether he could change things in this game. We were away from home against Swansea for this first game of the Barclays Premier League season, looking to do what we did last season, and a great 1-2 there between Grenier and Backley, I think it was. Grenier then forcing the save from Vaughan. That was a really snappy little bit of play from Grenier, and again Grenier in the thick of the action, forcing yet another save for Michel Vaughan. But from the resulting corner, Vlar unable to get the header away, and Backley, it comes out to him, he gets the shot away, and Vaughan only able to parry the ball to Christian Benteke, and he is able to nod it into the empty net, and that made it 1-0 in the 27th minute, I do believe, against Swansea. I thought this would be quite a tricky game, with Swansea being one of those teams that play very good football. Benteke, though, giving it to Bruma, over the top ball for Backley, another great save from Vaughan, and yet again the rebound put in, this time by Bruma in the 33rd minute, to make it 2-0, 2 goals in 6 minutes, both being rebounds. and we were loving it. It was 2-0. We were playing brilliantly, and we were carving Swansea open on a regular basis. Great ball over the top for QnA. This time to Bruma, another save, and would you believe it, another rebound. Benteke this time getting his second of the game in the 37th minute, making it 3 goals in 10 minutes in this game, and all 3 of them rebounds following a great save from Michel Vorm, and that made it 3-0 in the first 37 minutes, seeming to cast aside the problems we had in the first season, not being able to kill off games and win by large margins, but QnA almost making it 4 before half-time as well, after a great ball over the top. A little bit of a Swansea mix-up in the second half, Bruma getting away a snapshot, but this time a good save from Vorm, and this time no one able to get on the end of it, but Swansea here with really their first chance of the game. Shelvey getting the ball from the nice little flick on from Rory Donnelly, and he scores in the 62nd minute to make it 3-1, and I suddenly thought, oh God, our problems are returning, not able to keep a clean sheet, and we're going to squander this lead, or at least to the point where it's only 3-2, or where we don't even win at all. A good goal there from Swansea. We definitely came into the game a lot more in the second half, but Benteke there with another chance. I wanted to put my laces through it, but I didn't realise that the ball was even going to fall to Benteke, really. But another key moment in the game, Meyer and Juricic coming on for his debut, his full debut. A nice little save there from Ziga, I think from Pablo Hernandez's shot, but Juricic literally with one of his first touches of the ball, blasting it past Michel Vorm, and that is what we paid £8 million for at the near post after the tackle from Benteke's air shot, basically. Fell to Juricic, and what a finish that is, to be honest. There, the air shot from Benteke after a good tackle, I think it was from Chico Flores, and what a shot that is from Juricic off the bench to make it 4-1. Our problems are gone of winning by big margins, at least, in the Barclays Premier League, and that is how it ended 4-1 away from home against a pretty solid Swansea team. Shelvey getting the goal for Swansea after we made it 3-0 thanks to 2 Benteke goals, a Bruma goal, and then Juricic rounding things off in added time. Bruma got man of the match with a great rating as well for Benteke, and Delph and Vla, as well as Backley there off the bench. 6.9 for Juricic in his first game as an Aston Villa player. But I'm hoping you've enjoyed this rather long episode of Kareem. Like and subscribe if you did, and comment about enjoying it if you enjoyed it that much. I hope you enjoyed the signings that I make and the signings that I'm going to make, hopefully, in terms of defence. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye. And do not forget to ask your questions for the Q&A in the comment section below.